Yo, what is up, guys? Shinobi here, back again with another video for you guys. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with another Bleach Rebirth Souls video. Now, because obviously we got the DLC with 1,000 of lower Ichigo on the way, plus ranked, I wanted to make a tier list video of the top characters I think will do well in ranked as of whenever the rank drops, which probably is going to be sometime at the end of today. I don't know, specific standard time right now. It's like 11:20 a.m. For all I know, ranked is probably already in the game. As we are speaking, you guys can let me know. I can't see anything right now because I'm still trying to get this hotel to connect my PS5 to the damn internet. So yeah, I'm kind of just stuck making videos like this for the time being because my PS5 will not connect to the internet to save its damn life. I need to test if my Nintendo Switch can. Not gonna lie. But it is what it is. We work with what we got, but you guys already know the drill. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more, and let's go ahead and get straight into this. So, um, based on okay. We already know. Okay, let's just get the characters that we already know are gonna do well out the way, because you guys already know who's gonna do well and who's not. Like Nelio, Haribel, who else? Bankai Ichigo. Where's Bankai Ichigo? Bankai Ichigo, I'd say third. Renji's gonna be a menace, hilariously enough. Who else would I put in the S tier? I think that's it. No. What am I talking about? That's it. Kai and Shiba, yeah. So as far as ranked is concerned, now that we got what we got and people are familiar with the game, these are my S tiers. You already know Nelio and Haribel are freaking ridiculous right now. I'd say that they're probably strongest characters in the game. Bankai Ichigo kind of gets beat out by both of these in certain situations, but it all depends on the skill level of them. But he can also compete. And on top of that, he has the reawakening factor. I also throw Kai and Shiba up in there. Obviously, he's broken as shit. His hitboxes are insane, and his range is nuts. Renji, I'd also put up in there. He's kind of an iffy one because you could say he's A tier too. But it's one of them things where it doesn't take much for Renji to get you, and I'm not gonna lie, with his range, I could see him doing a lot of damage. Dude is an absolute menace. Once again, with the nerfs he's gotten, he probably will be in the I think with Renji, and hell, I would even say, where's Kamamura at? Renji and Kamamura, it's like, okay, they could be S tier, but they could also be A or B tier. If we're talking about the common player, like they're probably good, but not that good, like they're just decent, then you could probably put Renji in B or B tier. But if we're talking somebody like we're talking equal skill level, I could probably put Renji up here. But honestly, you could probably put him in B tier. Same with Kamamura. He's got the same thing. Where's Kamamura at? So Kamamura, I'd say he's somewhere around here. And once again, I've seen some crazy Renjis. I've gotten cooked by a Renji before. There was one time I fought a Renji. I think I even made a video out of it. And I couldn't do. There was nothing I could do. There was literally nothing I could do. Like I couldn't respond. I couldn't do nothing. And once again, I feel like a lot of these two, with especially these two, because they're really slow to the degree, it's all on reaction time. It's all internet based and whatnot. But because we don't have the rollback netcode yet, or at least I don't know if they're patching it in. I haven't seen the patches yet. It's one of them things where it's like, okay, now, it's all about how fast you can react, because there are things you can do to interrupt Renji or get near him. Same with Sajin, but it's also one of them things where if you can't, you're kind of getting cooked by these two. It's one of those things. So while I can see Renji or something like Sajin being S tier, they also kind of they got nerfed recently, so like they don't get a lot of health back off of their I want to talk about reawakening, off their evolution. So it's one of them things. I mean, they're easily counterable by these top characters. So I wouldn't even say they're S tier, but it's one of them things where if they just get you off of that, it's like, kind of GG's. As for the A tier characters, I'd have to probably put Byakuya, Soifon, Urahara. Ooh. Let's see. Ikaku, maybe? I mean, we saw the Ikaku I fought. He was just mashing. I couldn't do nothing. But then again, I was playing Yorishi anyways. Who else would I put in? Aizen. I argue I put Aizen above freaking Byakuya. This character is ridiculous with how much damage he can do. Who else would I put in the A tier? Shunsui? I don't know. I feel like Shunsui. Yeah, no. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think about this, because I think Shunsui's A tier, but he can. I don't know. I don't know. Like I haven't seen. I've seen some crazy stuff with him. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some crazy stuff with him, but at the same time, I don't know. I think he's like low A tier compared to these guys. I think he's low A tier. Who else? Who else? Who else? Ukiora A tier, and honestly, I honestly like I can't even really put these in order all the way because I've played some of these characters, but not all of them. But I've also faced a lot of these characters, so I have a rough idea of where they're at the moment. So I think this is it for the A tier. Or you could probably throw. I mean, you could. Yeah, you could probably throw Kaname in there. No, I think he's B tier. No, honestly, a good Kaname. I'm not gonna lie, if he uses that darkness correctly, a good Kaname, I could see him being A tier over Renji and Yakuya or Sajin. No, actually, no. I think he's B tier. I think he's B. I think he's either A or B. I put him above. I either put him above or somewhere with these two. Honestly. Let's see, who else do we got? Gin. I think Gin's B. He's fast and he has some crazy stuff that he can do, but I think it's his grab. I'm pretty sure his grab, if I'm correct, it still doesn't combo correctly. That's one of those things that they gotta fix at the moment. Shinji, I think I also put him in the B tier. Haven't fought a lot of them, and I feel like he could be good, but I haven't seen anything crazy with him yet. So I think, but he's not like terrible either. So he's either B or C tier, but I think I put him in B. Bankai Ichigo, or no, just regular Soul Society Ichigo. I think he's B tier. He's just solid in the middle of the pack, nothing crazy, but he ain't bad either. Who else? I think that's no Ikaku. Ikaku's definitely B tier. And I once again argue A tier because he's crazy with how much he can do to your shield. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So moving on down to C tier, I think as far as ranked, you're gonna have niche picks like this. Obviously, I feel like this Ichigo can be crazy, but he's also really easy to counter. So you gotta be really careful with him. And he's one of them picks that you only choose if you want to stop stuff like Aizen, stop stuff like Bankai Ichigo, stop stuff like obviously Saislo and his revives. That's kind of the thing you want to kind of go for. So that's why I put him in C. And Tosho's kind of the same way. Tosho, I feel like Tosho is like, okay, he's got good movement. He's got a decent projectile. And then his combos, do a lot of damage once he hits sublimation. His problem, though, is, and I think it's a really big problem, is whenever he has to fight characters that have, like, a lot of range on them, that's where he kind of gets stuck, especially if they can neutralize his projectiles. That's where he kind of gets stuck. Because I think right now, even against characters like Noritora, who realistically, I would say are worse, or probably even in the same tier, he just gets outplayed because his light specifically, I can only say this because I play a lot of Toshiro, but his light move, it doesn't have enough range. There's so many scenarios where Toshiro, you would think you can punish somebody off of an unsafe heavy or an unsafe, combo string on a shield, and then you try to swing and your sword doesn't reach. Your sword does not reach. It's just like, what do you do? What do you do? I'm pretty sure he's one, like him and Rukia are one of those characters where they have the range problem. And actually, Yoriichi's up there with that problem too. I can argue that Toshiro is B tier, but because of his damage output and the combos that he can do, I can argue he's B tier, but I think he's C tier at the moment. He's not terrible, but he's not like really good either. And even if you play him to the max, there's just certain characters where he just gets beat out completely. Like, you got to be cracked, sweating your balls off in order to actually win with him. So that's why I'm kind of putting him there. I might be wrong, and I love Toshiro, but at the same time, I play the character a lot, so I know what my weaknesses are, and I know how bad it is to fight certain characters. And once again, this list isn't like to say who's the best necessarily. It's just more of a list to say like, oh, this is kind of who you'll have an easier time playing with, especially now that we got ranked. This is kind of like one of those things where it's like, this is who you'll have an easier time playing with or getting wins with versus another character who might struggle a lot or a little bit more fighting some of the characters that they're fighting above them. That's kind of how that is. This isn't like a necessary tier list on who's better than who, because I'm gonna be real. I've beaten obviously Tozen, I've beaten Ikaku, I've beat Gens before. Hell, I've even beat the freaking Ichigos and whatnot before while using Toadstro. I've just outplayed them before. So that's not to say that the character's just terrible and can't be played. It's just this is more of a list to say who you have an easier time playing with. I probably should have stated that at the beginning of the video, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. And speaking of which, moving on to the next person, I think who's in the C tier, it's Grimmjow. I think he's pretty good aggressively, and if played correctly, he can do well. But he just once again, it's one of them things where he gets outranged a lot. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure actually I think Gin. Now that I'm talking about this, I think Gin's down here too. I'm gonna be real. Gin's also got that problem. Once again, right now, he has that problem of his range is small, and then on top of that, his grab, for whatever reason, just does not combo with his normal attacks at all or anything like that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That's kind of where I put him at the moment. Who else I'd put up in the C tier? I think once again Yamamoto. Yeah, Yamamoto, Noritora. Who else? Chad, I think. I think those characters and Saisaparo. I think these are all C tier. And hell, I would even argue now Rukia. I used to think that Rukia, especially after I played her, was really bad. But after playing her a little bit more, I think she's really circumstantial. She's not that, like, I feel like she, like, once again, when she lost that combo with one of her spiritual pressure moves, I think that she definitely got nerfed a lot. But she's like one of them characters who's like footsies based. Where, like, once again, with Totro, she's fast. She's got, like, similar capabilities to Totro. She's fast. She's got projectiles and whatnot. It's just that she's lost a lot of her combo potential. She goes more for, like, okay, I'm going to bait out some grabs, go do some in and outs. I'm going to be doing a lot more baiting with this character than anything. And, once again, I think the problem with her flash step is also a thing. Where, once again, instead of flash stepping behind you, flash step in front of your opponent. And as I've shown, playing against a character... Like, I think I was playing Yorishi and I was fighting Rukia, and every time she would flash step right in front of me. So even if I whiff a move, she'll flash step and still get caught. Definitely something that needs to be fixed, in my opinion. Rangiku, I feel like also is in the C tier, where it's like, she has amazing setup potential, but it's one of the things where it takes too long to set up, and if your opponent really rushes you down and plays it safe, she kind of gets cooked in the end. Not to mention, it's really easy to dodge those fireballs. Like, really, really easy. Hell, you can even flash step them because they're really slow. Mayuri, also kind of in the C tier. There's a lot of these characters where they're really circumstantial. Like, these kind of characters either are going to be counter picks, or they're just, like, really circumstantial on who they fight, versus these right here, where they're kind of just solid in the middle of characters, and then these are kind of like the higher tier, like, okay, we're sweating out here kind of characters. And then I think the D tier, that's where you got stuff like, Ishida, Yorichi, Kenpachi, Izuru, Hisagi, and Stark. That's kind of where that kind of lines up with. And once again, this is kind of just based on who I've played or who I've actually fought against. This is kind of where I got the list at. And once again, some of these could arguably be put in B to C tier. Some of them could be whatever. As for True Shikai Ichigo, we don't have anything for him. I think based on what we've seen so far from just the trailer, I think True Shikai Ichigo, because of a lot of the invincibility he has, is I would say he's either A or S tier. Now, we need to get some gameplay with him first before we decide on anything. Because we gotta have the players get their hands on him. But with the amount of invincibility he has, the uniqueness of his signature move, as we went over, and the fact that his resurrection, or his evolution specifically, going into Horde of Salvation, has it to where a lot of his moves that would have a lot of delay have better recovery time in his resurrection state. It allows him to play a lot more aggressive while not getting punished as much. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. And once again, the invincibility is crazy because, once again, with those moves that he has to have invincibility on him, you can either play really aggressive, or you could just, when your opponent's pressing you a lot, you could just throw those moves out. You can just throw those moves out and catch people. So, I don't know. I think he's A to S tier, and we really got to see how he plays. We really got to see how he interacts with characters like Haribel, characters like Nail, who I think have more range than he does. You know, and obviously Bankai Ichigo, Kai and Shiba. I think those characters are still, based on what the gameplay was, I think those characters are still more broken than he is. In fact, that's why I argue to say that he's going to be A tier instead of S. But we'll have to see. But this is kind of where I have the list. Just based on what we got now with ranked and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think down below. I might be smoking something with some of these picks, but I think this is pretty solid based on what we've gotten. And you know, once again, once we get patches and whatnot, I'll obviously make videos on those and give my opinions. And once again, hopefully I can get some Wi-Fi in this damn hotel and see what I can do. But for the most part, I think that's it. And we really, like, now that we got ranked, I'm going to be real with you, we really need that. That rollback netcode is basically mandatory at this point. If we want smooth ranked matches and not a lot of disconnects, not a lot of nonsense, it's now like we need, like, there's certain things we just need to have at this point. We need spectator mode. We need rollback netcode. That is, like, top 2 priority at this point because we already know what the DLC is. We know it's going to be Ichibe, Unohana, Yuha. We already know those are going to be the next DLC, and we got to worry about the rest of that later. But as far as gameplay, because now we got ranked, now people are going to be actually trying to get to top ranks a while. Now we need rollback netcode, and we need spectator mode. We need both. That should be like, I'm not even going to lie to you, that should be in the game within the next 2 weeks. And I'm not gonna, like, they can't say people haven't been asking for it because I know people, once again, including myself, have gone into detail, big time detail of what we need in this game as far as just the online in general. We need spectator, we need bigger lobbies, and we need rollback netcode. That is top 3 of what we need here. But you know, that was a little bit of a side rant, but you know, we need that kind of thing, especially now that we have the range. So you know, that's pretty much gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't really go over the bottom list too much, but I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna be real. Uryu, you know, once again, Uryu, like ranged characters like Uryu, they can do well, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you got to be really good. You got to sweat your ass off. Like these are the characters down below on this bottom tier where it's like, okay, you're gonna be sweating a little bit with the C tier if you fight any of these up top, but you're really gonna be sweating if you fight anybody basically up here if you're playing any of these characters down here. That's kind of the gist of the D tier. Like it's like they're not garbage, but you're gonna have to like do some crazy maneuvering if you're gonna fight anybody above them. That's kind of like the D tier in a nutshell. But I mean, once again, let me know what you guys think down below. I just wanted to make this kind of tier list now that we got ranked and what my thoughts are based on who we've played during basically, I would say, the beta portion of this game. 'Cause let's be real, this was basically a beta before the actual ranked came out. If they, once again, make any changes with the update, then I will be on that. Obviously, I'll make a video talking about my thoughts and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and yeah, that's it.